you can go over that list and stop some of that pinwheel of negative thoughts that just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling in my head. Hey everybody, I'm out here once again, and I came up with a topic off the top of my head like 5 minutes before I came outside. Here comes the car. We're used to this by now. Okay, that's really weird. I have music playing in my headphones while I'm talking. Hopefully that's not going to continue. So today I wanted to talk about insecurity and feeling insecure within ourselves. Okay, so obviously I'm totally unprepared tonight. That's okay. We're going to talk about insecurity, and I was just thinking as I was walking, insecurity, like personal insecurity, and I guess to define what I'm talking about, it's when you try to reach a goal, when you put yourself out there, and that fear, it's kind of like a social anxiety, I guess is what I'm really kind of getting at here. Because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, well, it's a different fear from the fear of feeling like we're gonna die, or like we could be put out on the street or something, or we're gonna get sick, or it's not quite that fear that I'm trying to reach here when I talk about personal insecurity. It's more about the way we judge ourselves and our own self-esteem and how we feel about ourselves. And so I think it's important to make that distinction, that it's not the same as feeling like we're going to die or feeling like some kind of harm is going to come to us. It may feel harmful to us, but it's not as if we feel like some kind of external thing is necessarily happening to us. So I had some thoughts about this. I don't know if I want to say them all here because I just want to keep moving, but I think it's an intertwining between our emotions and our thoughts that kind of perpetuates this insecurity that we have within ourselves. And I'd like to talk about that because I still have it happen, you know, now and then. I still have my moments of insecurity where I don't feel so hot about myself, but I get through them. So how did I get through them? I'm going to think about that and hopefully be able to relay that to you. Okay, well, I thought about it a little bit more, and there is a death component to it. If you are somebody who had an abusive upbringing, if your parent was not able to be a secure base for you, as it's called, then you could certainly have an anxiety around death because you grew up as an infant or as a child or whatever, adolescent, not having that feeling of security, not feeling like somebody would be able to be there for you, not feeling protected in some way. And so death was a very real thing for you at that age, a real possibility, although you may not, as adults we may not be able to see that, but as children you rely on other people. There's no way to live without other people. So death could be a component in our insecurity in ourselves if we didn't have a secure base. And it generally would drive us to seek out a secure base in other people and take the focus off of ourselves and our own capabilities because we're constantly looking for that parent that we didn't have, which is why we wind up usually in bad relationships, or we try to cope with things like drugs and alcohol. We can get into all kinds of different bad behaviors trying to escape that fear of insecurity that comes from childhood. So moving into adulthood, you know, this can go hand in hand with that. I think a lot of times we become insecure about ourselves because we, well, there's a lot of different reasons, obviously, so I'm just going to go into a bunch of different reasons as I can find. So one reason could be that we set a goal, we set a standard for ourselves, some kind of performance area that we're trying to reach, and we feel like if we're not capable of reaching that goal at a particular time or at a particular standard, then we're not good enough, that there's something wrong with us, and we beat ourselves up over it, trying to figure out why we were not able to reach that goal. And then we start using words like stupid, lazy, words that I put into my 200th video that I did, And there's a reason that I put those words in there, because those words are not helpful. They're just negative words meant to shame. And we shame ourselves with them, unfortunately, sometimes. It's not always other people shaming us. Although that could also be something that happens, and I'm going to get rambling on here, so let me try to get back on track. So when we don't meet those goals that we set for ourselves, we can feel shameful about them, we can feel inadequate, and we can beat ourselves up over it, trying to find a solution for why we were not able to reach those goals, instead of just accepting that we didn't reach them, and it may have been beyond our capability to reach those goals. So the tangent that I was maybe going to go off on was, hold on, let it come back to me. Okay, so the tangent was, sometimes we take external words that we hear from other people and we internalize them. You know, if you've heard enough times being bullied from a boss, a supervisor who had more power than you, even if it wasn't explicitly said to you, if there were messages given to you through metaphor, through actions, unspoken messages, and I'm not talking like delusions of reference here, I'm not talking just your own insecurities being projected. I'm talking about like clear actions that sent a message that you were not good enough. Then that can become internalized, and that may also cause you to see projected out into other people things that aren't there. You might see people shaming you when they're not actually shaming you, because you've internalized these negative messages. So that's why I think it's important to shine a light on these words that we use and the words that we choose, both for others and for ourselves, that really aren't helpful. There's no, what is the purpose of the word stupid? What is the purpose of the word lazy? What is it actually doing for anybody? It's really not doing much of anything. So these are just words that children use. That's kind of how I characterize them, or words that adults who are insecure in themselves try to use to control children or to control the people around them. But those words don't actually amount to anything, and they harm us. However, at the same time as they don't amount to anything, they amount to a lot, because when we use them, we know what they symbolize. We know that they are meant to shame us. We know that we're supposed to feel bad when we hear those words, and then that emotion gets evoked within us. So there's this weird dynamic where sometimes we'll feel this insecure emotion, and then all of a sudden our thoughts will start changing into negative thoughts about ourselves. Or the opposite could happen, and we have a lot of negative thoughts happening, and then the emotion comes up. Either way, it's not a good pattern to get in, and we have to interrupt that pattern in order to continue living our lives as whole, healthy, full individuals. Okay, so the places where I would normally stop, I wasn't able to, so we're gonna have to wrap this up quickly. I wanted to mention that we tend to feel insecure when we're comparing ourselves to others, and we don't necessarily know what's going on in their lives. We don't know why they were able to achieve what they achieved. Maybe they had some kind of a head start, maybe they had access to resources we didn't. That doesn't matter. We don't need to compare ourselves to other people, because that does open the door to feeling bad about ourselves. So you have this feeling of insecurity, and you have these thoughts of insecurity, and you even have like body behaviors of insecurity, like your posture, like you slouch over, you crunch down. So a quick, easy way to feel a little bit better is to slow down your breathing, open up your posture, and stand, sit, whatever, confidently. And it may not feel like you're confident right away just by doing that, however, it can definitely help. Something else that I always recommend doing is to keep some kind of a book or a journal, and I know I say this a lot, but it matters. If people give you compliments, if people tell you good things about yourself, if you feel good about something in particular, write it down, keep a list, so when you do start to feel insecure, you can go over that list and stop some of that pinwheel of negative thoughts that just keeps cycling and cycling and cycling around in your head. And interrupt those thoughts. I do have a video here about negative self-talk, and it's kind of the same thing I'm talking about here. Something else that I want to bring up on this topic is we often, especially when it comes to social anxieties, we often think that people are thinking about us way more than they're actually thinking about us. We just have this bias as human beings because we're always thinking about us, 24 hours a day. We, for some reason, think that other people are thinking more detailed into us than they actually are. Again, part of the reason might be because we had some kind of controlling parent, or we may have had a dismissive parent and we're trying to overcompensate, and so we feel like people are thinking about us more than they are. But the bare bones of it is that people aren't really thinking about us that much. They're going on with their lives, and maybe we think about other people a lot, and maybe that makes us think that they're thinking about us a lot, but that's not true. That's faulty logic. They may not really care about us at all, which is okay. It's okay to, there's billions of people on this planet. We're not going to care about every single one of them at every moment of the day, so it's okay that people aren't thinking about us. It's okay if we don't think about other people. But what I'm really trying to get at here is that we don't have to feel so much like there's a spotlight shining on us, and like every little action that we have to do has to be correct and done perfectly, and we have to show people that we're on some kind of level and like we've made it or something. Here's a car coming. I just don't get it. People drive at night sometimes really slow. I don't get it. All right, let's just wrap it up because I can't be out here all night. So the general thing to do here is to talk positively to yourself, and it's hard for some of us. We may feel uncomfortable about that. That may actually be painful because it brings back childhood memories to say something positive, because we may feel like nobody ever told us anything positive in childhood, and so we're faking it and it feels false, and it opens up these deep childhood wounds. But what we need to do is to train ourselves to not feel so bad when we say these things. So we need to do it in a safe place. We need to feel good about ourselves. We maybe need to do it with somebody secure around, like a therapist or a trusted friend or a family member who does understand, so that we can practice feeling good when we say positive things to ourselves. So if this is an area that you struggle with, I'd love to hear from you, and I'm sure the rest of the community could benefit from hearing what you're going through, what your experience is. So leave that down in the comments below. If you're new here, I do mental health videos currently Monday through Friday. So hit subscribe if you want to get more mental health videos. And once you hit subscribe, hit the bell to get notified every time I make a video. I am up on Patreon if you want to support me there. And I'll see you hopefully tomorrow.